Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Camel Sportscast. I'm your host, Steven Avalos, alongside my dad.
Hello.
And my good friend, Marissa.
Hi.
And today I just want to start off, not really get this out of the way, but, make sure I don't forget, as I usually do when I talk about things that I'm working on, is my next article, which I plan on doing this week for the Raider Ramble, will be talking about the Raiders, of course, but more just about how they could do in fantasy this year. They tend to do articles on fantasy, but since we're a long ways away from the season, it's kind of hard to talk about. And I thought it'd be good to do like a preview, like a pre-training camp preview on how to feel about them and all that. And of course, I've already thought about it a lot on where I think certain people will land, in what round or not, or whether or not they should be drafted, or you should look for them in the waiver wire midway through the season. You'll find that out by the time it comes out, which should be hopefully the weekend by the latest. But I really look forward to writing it because I really love talking about fantasy football. It's like it's something that I really, really love. And you can tell that, I really like it too. I participate in many leagues every year.
How many leagues did you do last year?
6 to 8.
6 to 8 leagues.
And that, even like looking at that now, I feel like that wasn't enough. I could have done more.
Marissa, how many were you in?
3.
3?
And I won 1.
Yeah, you won 1.
Yeah.
And I won 1, 2. 1 out of 8. Oh, not good.
And I was the worst person in our league. I was in 1 and came in last.
I made the playoffs in all of them except for 1. And the one I didn't make it in, I was just so unlucky. Like, I lost so many games by less than 10 points.
I'm sure the other players that lost ours had bad luck. Part of the game.
But either way, I really look forward to writing that. Hopefully you guys get to read that soon. But anyways, how do you guys want to start this off? We got the NBA playoffs going on. We're also halfway through the MLB season.
Yeah, exactly halfway through. We'll go baseball.
Okay, so a big change has been made in the NL Central. The Milwaukee Brewers, I almost said Bucks. The Bucks aren't doing well, but the Brewers have a 6-game lead in their division. Last time we talked, it was tied.
Yeah, a week they dropped. Chicago has dropped 6 games.
Yeah, and a lot of that also has to do with them playing each other in Milwaukee, doing their job. Today is a pretty crazy game. It looks like it was already over in the first inning when the Cubs scored 7 runs in the first inning.
Wow!
But last I saw it was like 15-7. Mm-hmm. So
who won?
Bucks. I mean, not Bucks. Brewers.
Okay, you got basketball in the brain, man.
Yeah, wrong sport. But the Brewers just they did not let that turn them down.
They've been owning the Cubs, in other words.
Yeah, and it's just a major bummer if you're a Cubs fan. But of course, neither of us are, so we're not that bummed.
Don't care.
The Mets are starting to lose their lead in the NL East. Nationals they've been on a decent streak as of late, and Trey Turner, actually, it's his birthday as well.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
I hope he's listening.
And he got his 3rd cycle in his career, and that is actually tied with Beltre and then 2 other people for most in the AL/NL modern era. There's so many different eras in baseball and basketball. It's hard to keep track of them sometimes, but either way, that is really impressive for him.
Well, thanks to Schwarber, the Nationals are coming on strong. Yeah. They're only down by 3 games. Last week they were down by 6, I believe.
They were down by 8, I think. 8 or 9
last week?
At one point. I don't know. I don't think last week though. Boston Red Sox, they have a 2-game lead over the Tampa Bay Rays, and Rays are losing to the Nationals, so they have a good chance to take a lead on that. But of course, we hope the Red Sox don't take too much of a lead because the A's play them soon. So we're just gonna have to say sorry.
We play them this weekend.
Yeah, we're gonna have to say sorry, Boston. But we want to win too. Then the White Sox, they still have a 2.5-game lead. It's been pretty steady, to say the least, over the Cleveland Indians, or Cleveland baseball team, as maybe we should be saying. Then Houston Astros have a 1.5-game lead. They have blown a really good opportunity to take more of advantage of the A's losing, but they haven't been doing well against teams they should be beating, such as the Orioles and Tigers. And a lot of that, I think, is their pitching. I don't know if that has to do with, the umpires checking up on players more, that maybe they were using substances before all this. But the there is a little coincidence. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think I don't know whether it could just be how they feel now that they're being checked. Not necessarily that they had stuff, but the kind of pressure to be checked, that might also be affecting them. But I don't know. You have to wonder.
Well, how many people got busted this week? Another player?
Only one person
One.
has been busted, I think. So
From
I
the-
thought they got another one.
From the
No.
Mariners.
No,
That's
just
it?
from the Mariners, I think. Yeah,
Okay.
and he got a 10-day suspension.
Mm-hmm.
The Giants, they only have a game and a half lead over the Dodgers, as the Dodgers got a 2-game sweep over them. Would you like to go over that?
No. I mean, yes, but no.
Well, they were up by 4.5 games, I do believe, last week.
Yeah.
So they lost to 3.5 through 3 games out of their once cushy 4.5 game lead.
Yeah, they've lost the last 3 games, so Dodgers have been taking advantage of that, and so have the San Diego Padres. They're 9-1 in their last 10. But anyways, you want to talk about Giants series?
Yeah, I don't know. I think starting with the A's game on Sunday, they just came out flat. I don't know if they felt comfortable with their lead or something, or going into the Dodgers series, maybe they just felt really comfortable. But they just didn't look like they were ready to play. I mean, although the first game against Bauer, they ended up getting 11 hits, not just on him, but also their bullpen. So they brought out their bats, but it didn't matter when in the first, or I guess that game they were 0 for 19 with runners in scoring position.
They got shut out 3-0.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and never mind. I
And
was thinking
then
the other one. Go
Even
ahead.
even the game after, they only scored 1 run, and that was on a Gavin Lux error, so it was unearned.
No, actually, no. The Bauer one, that wasn't a shutout. Weren't there other solo homers, or there was one where it was all solo home runs.
I thought they lost the first game 3-0.
Oh, I think they lost it.
There was something
3-2.
where there was some home runs hit 3-2.
Yeah, but they were still 0 for 19 with runners in scoring position. So I think it
Yeah.
was 2 solo homers.
Yeah, I don't
I'm trying to
remember who
forget.
hit them, but that did happen. One of them was, I think, Duggar.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just like last night with the A's game,
Oh yeah.
playing Texas. I know we're getting off base here, but we'll when we talk about the A's, we'll talk about last night's game. But
We went over all the division leaders, so.
well, Padres are coming up there too, 9-1 in their last 10.
I mentioned that, yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, the Giants, starting tomorrow, they play the Diamondbacks, so they could start to get a bigger lead, but it depends. I don't know. They could just come out flat again and not play well against the Diamondbacks. But the Diamondbacks
doesn't
are very
play-
bad.
Who doesn't
They're-
play well against the
They're
Diamondbacks?
just very bad. It's very sad.
Yeah, they're just awful on so many levels. Like you would think like people like Pittsburgh, like they're awful, but no, Diamondbacks they're somehow so much worse than they are. Very sad. But
So the A's in the last 10 games, they're 3-7.
yeah, and a lot of that has been bullpen. I think sure, like sometimes the bats aren't where they should be. They're not getting timely hits and all that. They're not hitting as many home runs. Some guys just didn't have a good series in San Francisco. Olsen wasn't too great. Laureano was awful at the plate against San Francisco. But Chapman's still hitting well. He's on a 16 game hitting streak. He's been hitting really well. But the timely hits still aren't there. It cost them when they couldn't score Laureano from third with 1 out because the next 2 guys struck out.
Yeah, and I don't know what their average is with runners on third with less than 2 out, but it's not good.
I think I saw something earlier. I think during their series in Texas, I think they showed it on the YouTube game where they actually have one of the better averages just with runners in scoring position in general.
Yeah, sure. They
Which
still
was
can't
like-
score the
which
guy
is
from
surprising.
third base very often.
Must be Manaea and all his hits.
I think one of them definitely was Lowry. I think they did it after Lowry got a hit with runners in scoring position. But either way, though, a big issue as well was putting Domingo Vedo. I hope I don't think I'm getting that one right.
Not even
putting
close.
him into the ninth inning, and he lets up a 2-run homer, and that ended up being the difference. As the A's also got 2 home runs in the 9th as well, but it still wasn't enough.
I just don't understand. I don't understand Melvin's selection for pitchers from the bullpen. It makes no
well,
sense.
He's also
It's so random.
It's also been a lot of letdowns too. Like, how many people have been put in where it's like, oh yeah, they should be good, but they weren't.
Yeah, but you got to stick with your bread and butter. I mean, you're down by
Even
one
Diekman,
run. You're still close to throwing some.
Like Petita's had moments where his age shows.
Nobody.
Diekman has times where he doesn't have good control. Wendelken was shaky. Romo isn't that reliable. Wendelken was hurt.
Yeah, but come on, they threw out yesterday
Guerra
guy
was
whose
put
name
in.
you can't pronounce.
But I'm just saying though, like a lot of people have been unreliable in the bullpen this year, and we need more arms.
But the thing about that is that these unreliable.
I still agree that he should not have been put in.
Shaky pitchers, they've had, they may have a little bit off days, but they're for the most part reliable.
But still, it's unpredictable though. They've been more unpredictable than usual, especially Diekman and Petit at times.
I got to go with somebody proven instead of some nobody.
No, like I said, I still agree with that, but I mean just in general, like he's been faced with he's been given a lot of uncertainty with like how inconsistent some players have been, and just like major letdowns like Gudon and Kolarek, who were expected to be decent, and also Rosenthal, who won't play till August. That's definitely like it's not a good hand to be given.
No, I mean maybe you guys should go out and get a good reliever, but that'll never happen.
Yeah, and then you also got the whole situation.
You guys gonna give up Rogers?
No.
The whole situation at right field, where Seth Brown and Sky Bull are just so unreliable to hit the ball, and then even Pinder has been on a major, he's not,
downswing.
Downswing, and it's pretty much just a matter of time till we have to just wait for Canada to come back, have him play center, I think, then put Laureano at right, and then have Kemp at left, because I'd rather have it be like that than rely on those other two guys, or unless Piscotty is ready. Piscotty, he'll definitely be ready before Canada.
But he's got to hit too.
Yeah, but I trust him more than Bolt and Brown at this point. They both have been liabilities.
What was Piscotty out with?
Wrist sprain, I think.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
He should be back soon. And plus, the All-Star break's coming up anyway, so
they say he probably won't need rehab.
Okay.
So that's another sign that he'll be able to come back soon. But yeah, just bullpen, some hitting, and they're also putting in another guy today in today's game, Schwindel. He actually made his debut, I believe, in 2013, but he's only had 15 career at bats in the majors. But he was doing really good in AAA this year. So, they're going to have him play DH because, Moreland hasn't been doing as well. He's batting, I think, below 230 at this point. Although he did have a home run yesterday.
Yeah.
They probably just want to try something else out. See if anyone else can do a better job at bat. Someone more reliable. But another big problem was also just their patience. They had none of it going against a guy who his record was 1-7 and an ERA +5. And just like the last game against him in Texas, he did well. But it was a lot of letting him off the hook because they didn't let him go into any counts and all that. Let him make any mistakes. They just kept swinging at the first thing and pop-ups, grounders to first base. Just such incompetence at bat. It was just so frustrating to watch. It's like, you would think, even if the manager tells them or not, you would think they could tell themselves that, like, hey, maybe I should take some more pitches.
Well, the A's used to be so good at that. The patience at the plate, they would preach that, and it's just not happening. There's so many times when they've had the pitcher on the hook, and the pitcher throws less than 10 pitches in the inning. Get the pitcher out of there, work on the bullpen, and they just have no patience. They're just up there swinging.
Yeah, that's a big reason why they lost, in my opinion. But anything else about the A's? Just, they got to fix that. Their offense has to be better. Bullpen has to be better. Starters are still doing pretty fine, in my opinion.
Pretty fine?
The starters are just doing a lot better than I expected at this point in the season. I kind of thought starter would be a big problem. Just knowing, having someone like Irvin, who was dipping at one point, Molitas, who's extremely inconsistent, and also the thought of having Fire still there, throwing meatballs all day.
Yeah, Irvin went 8 1/3 innings against the Giants on Sunday. Had a good outing.
Yeah, great outing.
But then again, it was the Giants, so.
What about the first two games?
I know, first 2 games, we got our ass kicked.
But that was the bullpen, too. It's just bullpen and offense.
Yeah. Congratulations on your team winning the series.
Thank you.
Not the Bay Bridge series, but part of
part of
it.
Bay Bridge
Part
Trophy.
2's coming in August.
Yep. If the A's can win 2 out of 3 or sweep, the second one would have to be the last game. Then the A's can still win it.
Okay. Basketball playoffs.
Yeah. So, the Bucks? Unfortunately, it looks like they might lose Giannis for some time. He's listed as doubtful for Game 5. Although I think he's going to miss more time than that. He hyperextended his knee in Game 4. And they were already losing badly. And that was the Hawks not having Trae Young.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Bucks are a mess. Giannis, the free throw line, it's gotten so bad. They were complaining about how long it takes him to shoot his free throws. And the Atlanta fans yesterday were counting down seconds between his free throws. And it goes up to 13 seconds. And he just so rattled. One of the times he shot free throws, he airballed the second free throw.
Oh yeah,
that's just plain embarrassing.
He airballed both, but it is embarrassing, and it's just like they had such a good, opportunity to take a 3-1 lead in this series, and they just blew it.
Yeah, but we got the Clippers and Suns tonight.
Yeah, I don't feel too good about it just because I think Booker had a better game. But it just seemed like their defense was not there in Game 5 of the series. Like their offense wasn't that bad, but Paul George he played a great game, and they couldn't close in enough.
Yep.
They had their opportunities and they were never able to close in enough on them.
Have you already said who you like in that series?
I'm going Suns, but I think if they lose today, I do not feel good at all about a Game 7.
It will be in Phoenix though.
It will be, but I don't know.
And Marissa, you like the Suns as well?
Yeah.
I think we got a clean sweep here. I like the Suns.
Yeah, I like the Suns as well. And what about the Hawks series? If Giannis is out, do you think he's out for the rest of the series?
Yeah, he might. Though he is so just mentally frazzled right now. It's 3-2 Bucks?
No, it's
2-2.
It's 2-2.
2-2. He's just so mentally frazzled. I would just keep on hacking the crap out of him.
I think that might be in a way a benefit if they don't have him, is then they don't have anyone to really hack.
Well, they got a
shooting,
decent team,
but they lose paint presence.
Yeah, and they have a decent team without him.
Middleton though, he vanished most of that game when he
I
was
I thought he had 30. He didn't have 30.
And it might have been when it got too late.
Yeah.
But before that though, before Giannis was hurt or before the game was already lost, he was pretty gone.
Anyway, I like Atlanta.
Yeah, I'm going to go Atlanta too, especially if Giannis misses
and
much time.
Yeah, I'm going with Atlanta.
Another clean sweep.
Freezing cold takes maybe? I don't know.
I don't think Giannis is going to come back.
I just don't know how. But even if he does, he can't be 100%.
Yeah.
There's no way. He's not going to be able to move the same, and he's going to be restricted to one spot.
Take his knees out. Not on purpose.
No, I don't think so. It's not the 70s.
Controversy.
Detroit Pistons.
Anyway, we're gonna go off basketball. We're gonna go off of baseball, and we actually let's continue with baseball. Just add what we saw a little thing on HBO on Real Sports about it's almost like betting on a player.
Yeah, investing
on
a minor leaguers.
Yeah, they have an investment group started by an ex-baseball player, and he will invest money in minor league players. He'll give them a certain amount of money, say anywhere between $160,000 to $300 and something thousand. In exchange, he wants 10% of all future contracts. Yeah. Now there are a lot of bums in that group, but there are some of his clients have been
stars.
Yeah,
or at least they've been able to make it. A minor league contract compared to a major league contract is it's unfortunately a really big difference.
Yeah.
He signed Tatis as a college player, or was it?
No, it was in the minors.
It was in the minors.
He signed him in 2017, and he gets 10% of his $340 million contract. So that makes up for any bust that he has on these investments. That makes up a lot of them, if not all of those. It's pretty crazy to think about that.
Yeah, but they have a pretty lucrative business. These guys have made a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
And just getting $34 million from the one player.
Yeah, the guy who's in charge of it is Michael Schwimmer. He actually played in the MLB for a couple years before an injury. He was with the Philadelphia Phillies. And so he knows what it was like to be in that situation that minor leaguers are in. And they showed footage of what life is like for minor leaguers, and it's honestly depressing to look at. Like you even college kids, I think,
Have it better.
Yeah, because they all have to be in like air mattresses in the same house, and it just
sometimes six players to a room.
Or like he even said he would see guys like go into dumpsters just to get some food. Like it is. They said, baseball's dirty secret.
Well, in the lower minor leagues, yeah, they're making about $5,500 a year. At first, I thought it was a month, but that's too good. It's $5,500 a year, which you can't live off that.
No, not at all. It's like just pathetic. And these owners can easily cover these guys much more than that without even like that taking a dent on their checks.
Yeah. Yeah,
this organization is called Big League Advance, or BLA.
Yes, and some other players that they have signed are Franmil Reyes from Cleveland. We don't know exactly what his was, but Yermin Mercedes from the Chicago White Sox, his is 15% of his lifetime earnings.
Yeah, and he was given $160,000.
Around there, yeah. Overall, they've signed around 300 players in the minor leagues, and 60 of them have made it to the bigs.
But the money they get is life-changing.
Yeah.
Most of them do it for themselves to survive or their families. And Mercedes has no problem paying that 15% because it's saved him from a dire situation.
He sounded very grateful.
And this company, BLA, trusted him. They had faith in him. So he has no problem paying it back, as well as the other players as well.
But of course, as with everything else, there always has to be some people that will disagree with it, and one of them is Scott Boras, who's one of the most well-known agents in baseball, or if not the most well-known agent in baseball, and he definitely wasn't a fan of it, as he accuses them of using bad tactics or taking advantage of the situations that they're in. Mentioning that most of them are from the Dominican Republic or other
poverty nations.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, well, sure they might like this now, but how will they feel when they're 45? That's something that he did say. And I just want to know what both of you think of that.
Well, I know what they do with the player is they videotape everything. They get their player's lawyer involved. They make them say their lawyer's name on camera. If there's anything that the player doesn't understand about what's going on, they don't sign them. They just don't do that. What's the player's name that's doing this? Michael Schwimmer. He was an ex-minor leaguer, so he knows what it's like, and he says it's for the players. Now, they're making their share of money, but he's also helping out a lot of players.
And what do you think of it, Marissa?
Yeah, I think for especially Mercedes, that was a really good opportunity for him, and he really couldn't turn it down. And I think that applies to a lot of other players who may have signed with the BLA. So, I think it is a good opportunity. Obviously, maybe in the future, I don't think they'll regret it because hopefully they'll have enough money to still be able to pay it off. So I think it's good overall. However, I think Major League Baseball just needs to start paying their minor leaguers more in general.
Yeah, baseball is making their money. But the thing is also, with BLA, they will give you the money, and if you don't make it in the major leagues, you pay nothing back. So it's a pretty sweet deal.
Yeah, it does seem like a pretty good deal. And I of course, the guy's going to try to say everything that he can to make it sound good. So for all we know, there's something that we didn't hear in that episode of Real Sports that, maybe makes it more sinister or something like that. But from what we saw, it seems like a pretty good deal.
Up and up. Yeah. Now, if you were to come over here and offer me, say, I can be had pretty cheap, $75,000 to leave this podcast and have me pay him for any other future podcast that I get rich off of, I would say, I'd do that in a heartbeat.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, so I wouldn't want to, but I'd say bye.
Oh no.
I guess you hesitated a bit, I guess, or would you hesitate?
No, not at all.
Okay.
In fact, I'd probably text you my goodbye.
But anyways, though, do I want to talk about the Olympics next? As that was something you were looking forward to talking about.
Well, yeah, this was another story on Real Sports, and it was the Olympics happening in Japan this month, actually, next month, couple weeks. And the Olympic athletes are getting the much-needed vaccine ahead of a lot of people who need it.
Yeah, I think, just something like that is really screwed up for athletes to get that over doctors and elderly and just other people that are in need.
Yeah, places like India, Brazil, Cambodia, Kenya, Lithuania. I mean, the list is so long, yet where less than 1% of the inhabitants of that country have never even gotten a shot. Yet they're lining up their athletes to get the shots way ahead of them when people are dying. I just don't think it's fair whatsoever.
It's very similar to how FIFA can be with how there's so much like corruption and all that. They'll just do anything just to make sure they get their money. They don't care how many people end up dying. They're just as long as we have an Olympics and as long as we get our money, that's all that matters.
Yeah, and that seems the way with the head of these Olympic committees. The IOC is a multi-billion-dollar organization, and it's all that. They don't give a crap about the people or the country.
Okay, so what do you think, Marissa?
Yeah, I think it's pretty terrible. I mean, I get it if you're an athlete. This is your maybe one opportunity to go out and perform for your country, but it's just really unfair for everyone else who wasn't able to get the vaccine. Especially the healthcare workers and the older population who really need it the most, because COVID's still out there, especially in countries who have the shortages of vaccines. So I just think it's unfair.
Yeah, the Brazilian athletes were getting it even before the healthcare workers.
Yeah.
Which was pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, that's just so embarrassing in general.
Anyway, that's a little tidbit I don't know if you guys knew about. We're just trying to spread the word.
Yeah, and so we covered pretty much baseball, basketball. Is anything going on in football that there is to talk about?
I don't think so.
Not really. Not a whole lot has happened.
Article.
In the next couple of weeks, there will be football stuff happening.
Yeah, especially for fantasy too. I want to start doing more fantasy football segments and such. Especially try to do a whole broadcast of our draft or multiple drafts too. I don't know. That's something I want to do personally.
Okay.
But anyways, is that going to be it for today?
I think so.
Okay, a little shorter than usual, especially than last week's, but still nothing wrong. So
we were pretty thorough last week, though.
Yeah.
We can slack off this week a little bit.
The Giants don't play today. That's why.
Yeah.
We didn't have too much to talk about.
And the A's haven't been playing too well.
Yeah.
Not much to talk about. But anyways, though, hope you guys enjoyed, and good night.
Good night.
Good night.